Handling our suffering is an art. Do you know how to suffer? If we know how to suffer, we suffer much less, and we conquer our fear of being engulfed by the suffering within us. The problem is, we are afraid so much from sufferings that we never thought about how we should suffer. Are you getting me? To suffer is not enough. We must also learn to live with our suffering. When we acknowledge our suffering and learn to hold it with compassion, we can transform it into a source of insight and understanding. There is a very old saying. Someone I loved gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this, too, was a gift. I am sure, at any point of your life, if you return a bit, you can easily see how any suffering grows you into a better and stronger person. So, just think, how can suffering be a curse? If you calmly have an insight, you will realize that those people, things or events which seem to have hurt you, those failures that seem to have burdened you, a blessing is now coming out of it all. If you ask people, if you suddenly got power, what do you want to change in the past from your life? Almost everyone will say, I want to have this or that, or want to meet someone who died and whom they had loved a lot. And many more. But no one thinks, if they changed any suffering from the past, they would never become the same person with such blessings and such awareness. What you think, yes or no? We grow more spiritually during times of suffering than during success. The stronger the winds of adversity, the deeper the roots of tenacity. Other people are going to find healing in your wounds. Your greatest life messages and your most effective ministry will come out of your deepest hurts. There's a beauty in being rejected, misunderstood, unseen, and unsupported by people. It teaches you to rely on God for everything. For most people, their spiritual teacher is their suffering. Because eventually the suffering brings about awakening. God uses loss, betrayal, persecution, to force us to change. He's not trying to make your life miserable, He's pushing you into your purpose. You can call Him God, universe, consciousness or anything, it doesn't matter as all are just words. The oneness. As I talked in my previous video, there is a purpose behind every suffering, and once you achieve that purpose, your suffering will be automatically unloaded. But if you keep concentrating on your suffering only, you can never reach on that awareness. If you had not suffered as you have, there would be no depth to you as a human being, no humility, no compassion. You would not be watching this now. Suffering cracks open the shell of ego. And then comes a point when it has served its purpose. Suffering is necessary until you realize it is unnecessary. They're going to go through tough times and experience major losses in life. Do you know why? Because there is no growth without change, there is no change without loss, there is no loss without pain, and there is no pain without grief. Whenever we suffer a major loss, the tendency is to immediately look for a cause or a reason or an explanation. Why did he leave me? Why did I lose my job? Why did I get the disease? Why? When you're in pain, explanations don't help. You don't need an explanation. Instead, you need awareness. You need to understand its root cause. If you are still thinking your root cause is someone else, you are doing blunder then. It may look as if the situation is creating the suffering, but ultimately this is not so, your resistance is. This is very easy to understand but actually very difficult to implement. Always remember, when any person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself, and his suffering is spilling over. He does not need punishment, he doesn't need your anger, he needs help. That's the message he is sending. But what are you doing? You are catching that spilling, you want to respond with the same pace to him, which is making you exactly the same as the other person is. If you are filled with anger, you create more suffering for yourself than for the other person. So you try to bring peace into yourself first. When you are calm, when you are absolutely clear, you will see that the other person is a victim of confusion, of hate, of violence transmitted by society, by parents, by friends, by the environment. When you are able to see that, your anger is no longer there. You will start developing awareness, which will soon turn into spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening is when you become aware of your real nature and own unique being. When this happens in your life, you will have a new sense of seeing things and the world around you. You will begin to trust life and use your inner voice when making decisions. You will be able to accept your emotions and really feel them, not repressing them through addictions and negative patterns. Many questions will come into your mind, and you will ask yourself a lot of questions because your ego will try to find all the excuses to keep you in fear and old patterns. And then, all of your suffering starts converting into blessings. You will start understanding that suffering is not showered upon you, it is manufactured. And the manufacturing unit is in your mind. Then you will never think that you are weak, you will never cry, your every tear will be replaced by wisdom and strength. Your awareness will be developed into such a place that you can see the whole of your life, not just one part of it. Not just the part of suffering. Your consciousness will reach the next level that you no longer hate anyone, even not to those who did bad with you. You will understand the oneness of the whole universe. You will observe that you are a living part of this whole universe. Then automatically you will start loving everything and everyone. You will not harm anyone and accept everything as same as it comes to you. You will understand that it is not a bad thing to celebrate a simple life. In the end, I will share with you a wonderful quote by Alan Watts. He said, "When you try to stay on the surface of the water, you sink, but when you try to sink, you float, and that insecurity is the result of trying to be secure, so, don't oppose, just go with the flow. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now if you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup, if you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle, if you put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend, and accept everything, whichever comes on your way."